What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another weekday in the lawn. For those of you guys who've been watching the videos these past couple of weeks, you guys know I've been talking a lot about irrigation, and the reason I've been doing that is because here in the Midwest we're starting to come back into our normal summer cycle. We typically get these 2 weeks where temperatures are going to rise and the amount of rain days are going to fall, and because of that it's wreaking havoc on the lawn, and the only solution is more water. Which brings me to today's video. I'm going to show you guys a quick, cheap, and easy way to set up a DIY irrigation system in your lawn. This is going to be really good for a lot of us, especially those of us with really busy schedules. This is going to help us stay on top of things a lot better. So with all that being said, let's get into the video, bruh. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and map out the area that we're going to be irrigating. In my case, we are going to be doing my front lawn, and this section is about 2,000 square feet. Now, what I want to do when I set this up is I want to make sure that I'm getting good, consistent coverage all around. And what I've come to learn after years and years of moving sprinklers around my lawn, I've come to find that there are 4 ideal spots in my lawn that offer good coverage. Now, before I go any further, let me go ahead and answer the question, what is considered good coverage? Well, if you ask me, what I consider good coverage is when the stream of one head goes far enough that it can overlap with the stream of another head. A good example of that would be stream 1 outputs its stream far enough to overlap with streams 2, 3, and 4. If you're doing that, you're going to ensure even coverage, especially with the shapes of the spans. Because of the type of sprinklers we're using, we're dealing with circular spans, so we need to have at least a little bit of overlap to ensure that we're getting good coverage all around. This is going to vary depending on your situation, but what I've come to find with my lawn is that there are 4 ideal spots that offer me good coverage. Spot 1 being right here, spot 2 being here, spot 3 up here, and spot 4 being right there. Those are the areas that are going to offer me good coverage. Now let's talk about the materials we're going to need, and then we'll go ahead and put it together. First off, you're going to need your sprinklers of choice. I'm going to be using 2 impact and 2 rotor sprinklers to do this. Ideally, I recommend both of these kinds of sprinklers. They're really good at keeping the water low to the ground, and they're also really good for covering a lot of area in very little time. The second thing you're going to need is your garden hose. Now, again, the quantity you're going to buy is probably going to vary depending on how many sprinklers you had to set up, but in my case, we're keeping it simple. We're going to be using the factory 4, so 4 different hoses. And as I talked about in the last video, ideally you want those hoses to be 3/4 inch to reduce the amount of friction loss, which results in loss of pressure before the water reaches the sprinkler. Keep in mind, larger hose diameter, less friction loss, more water coming out of your sprinkler. And then the third thing you're going to need is going to be our timer. I don't really have any specific recommendations here, just get whatever's affordable. In my case, I went ahead and picked up one of these 4 outlet timers that you could get at Home Depot. This is like the most affordable one I could find. It was like 50 bucks. It has 4 outputs, which is going to be able to accommodate the system I'm trying to put together here. Okay, so at this point we've gotten the sprinklers set up and we're about to turn them on. What I want to talk about for a second here is going to be something I also mentioned in last week's video. Again, if you want to check that out, I will leave it here in the eye in the top right corner, as well as linked in the description below. It'll teach you everything you need to know about how to calibrate your sprinkler to the best of its ability. What does a good stream look like? You guys know one thing I talked about in that video in regards to the impact sprinkler or the rotor sprinkler or whatever sprinkler you're using that's related to those 2 is tightening down the nut and screw that comes on impacts and rotors to help divert the stream and create more of a mist pattern in the middle, thus improving the consistency and efficiency of your sprinkler's coverage. The last thing you want to do is leave those screws or settings or what have you loosened, because when you're doing that, you're not going to get the sufficient coverage in the middle, which means you're going to get an uneven application. So definitely tighten down the nuts and screws on your impacts and rotors to improve the stream consistency. Okay, so this second sprinkler right here, this is actually one of my favorite alternatives to the big sprinkler, especially for those of you guys who you've seen the big sprinkler, you have no interest in it, right? It's just not for you, right? I understand that. You're looking for something that you can afford at the big box store. That's totally fine. I got a great alternative for you, and that is these Orbit sprinkler heads right here. What I really like about these is that they kind of resemble the Rotor sprinkler head that comes on the big sprinkler, but they also offer a variety of nozzle options on here. Like you can go vertical, shower, large, medium, small. It's kind of like those hose end sprayers you can get at the store that have like different modes. They also come with these like 3 teeth on the top, right? And what you'll notice is when you look at them, on one side you have the shortest one, and then you have the middle, and then you have the longest tooth right here. Well, what happens is when you turn this into the stream, right, there's the shorter one, there's the middle one, and there's the high one. They start to interrupt the stream and give us that mist that we want. And again, the reason we want that mist is so that we can get nice, even coverage, not only at the beginning and end of the stream, but also in the middle to improve the consistency and efficiency of our sprinkler coverage. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of measuring. We need to figure out how long it takes for each individual head to output a 1/2 inch of water. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take a little measuring cup or a ring gauge or a tuna can or what have you, anything that's about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch deep. Take that and put it in the middle of your sprinkler stream, start a stopwatch, and then come out and check on it. Once you've filled that cup up to about a 1/2 inch, then you know that you're getting down enough water for your individual waterings that we're going to be scheduling here with the timer. So the last thing we got to do now is we got to go ahead and set the timer. Now I'm not going to get too in depth on how to do this because every timer you get is going to be different. So I highly recommend, if you're struggling, definitely read the instruction manual with the timer. As I always like to say, label is law, as it will answer a lot of your questions. So definitely read the directions and learn how to set it. But what I can tell you is the schedule that I want you to put on your timer. And the reason this is important is because one big mistake a lot of people with sprinkler systems make is that they just set their sprinklers to come on every day for 10 minutes. And when you're doing that, you are working against the lawn's ability to push deep roots, as the roots are going to go where the food and water is. And if the water's not getting down where it needs to be, then the roots are going to come up and you're not going to have a deep root system. So the way to promote a deep root system, again, is to water deep, but not to do it so frequently. So instead of 10 minutes every day, we want to water long enough to get down a ½ inch of water, and we want to spread out the waterings using 2 to 3 day intervals. So like I talked about, 2 to 3 times a week, ½ inch each time. If you decide to go 2 times a week, Tuesday and Friday would probably be good watering days. Or if you decide to go 3 times a week because you're not getting enough rain help, which is a good idea in the summer anyway, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's a great schedule to do. Again, making sure that the sprinklers come on those 3 days, staying on long enough to put down a ½ inch of water each head. Also, make sure that you set them to come on in the morning, because the last thing you want to do is water in the middle of the day and or the evening. And the reason that is because in the middle of the day, while you're getting the lawn the sufficient water it needs, a majority of it is going to evaporate out of the soil due to all the sunlight you're getting in the middle of the day. So definitely don't make watering in the middle of the day a habit. And you don't want to water in the evening either, because when you water at night and you leave that much water on your lawn overnight, you're promoting fungal problems. So if you can control it, which you can because this is a DIY system, set it to come on in the morning. 4 to 5 a.m. is when you should have it start its cycle. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will show you how to get the deepest, darkest, greenest, thickest lawn on the block. I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. If I don't see you guys next time, you're gonna be dominated, bro. See you later.